So hello everybody. Today we are going to be doing a really short practice to help support the sacral chakra, which is this area just above the pubic bone and below the belly button. So to start off with, we're going to assume the mudra that supports this chakra. So left hand on the bottom, right hand on the top, gently touching the thumbs together and just placing this over the area of the sacral chakra. Sitting some way that's comfortable for you, however that is comfortable. You may like to sit up on a bolster, so it takes the pressure off your knees if you decide to sit cross-legged, but however is comfortable for you is perfect. And we're just going to start by closing down the eyes and just taking your awareness onto your breath. And just feeling the breath as it floats in and it floats out. Starting to gently lengthen out that breath as well. Drawing it all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, allowing that belly to relax and expand. And gently breathing out. Just continue to ride the waves of the breath. You might like to visualize the breath as waves. The element of the sacral chakra is water. And so when we connect with the energy of water, as in waves or other sources of water, it connects in with our sacral chakra and supports the energy of this space as well. We're just going to visualize riding the waves of the breath for a few more rounds. The colour of the sacrum, the sacral chakra, is also orange. And so you can visualize the colour orange in this space as well, as the wavelength of the colour orange is that same frequency as our sacral chakra. Just continuing with that gentle, steady breath, riding those waves, expanding that colour orange all the way through that sacral area. Just for a couple more rounds. And then when you're ready, we're going to start on the back. So I'm just going to pop onto a side. You don't have to move onto a side, but I'm just going to move onto the side so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to lay down on the back. We're going to have the knees bent up. We want the ankles underneath the knees and the feet about hip width apart. Just seeing that your shoulder blades are resting on the mat or on the floor. We're just going to start with some spinal rolls. So starting that from the pelvis, we're going to start just tilting that pelvis up, gently pushing through the feet, raising up that pelvis, trying to keep those knees nice and steady. And we're just going to start to roll gently up and down. Just rolling up and down that spine, starting that movement from the pelvis, raising that sacrum up, and then rolling it back down as well. While you're doing this motion, seeing if you can feel each part of the vertebra, one piece at a time, rolling up and then rolling down. And you might like to connect the breath as well. So on the inhale, we're rolling up. Nice deep breath. And exhale, rolling down. We're just going to do this for a couple more rounds. If it's okay for you on the next in-breath, we're just going to hold that pelvis up for a few rounds of breath, gently pushing through the feet, squeezing those bottoms, holding it up there, keeping that breath flowing. Couple more breaths. And gently rolling back down. So from here then we're going to hug the knees into the chest, giving yourself a nice hug. And then maybe crossing over the ankles. You've got the option here to roll along the spine, coming back up to a seated position, otherwise coming back to a seated position, however that's good for you. And then we're going to come around onto all fours. And we're going to bring that right foot forward to the front of the mat. But we're going to walk that foot over towards the right. So the right foot forward over towards the right. And then taking that back heel back. And then we're gently going to stretch through that back thigh, but also through the hips, because the sacral area is in that hip area. So all of our postures that are related to the hips are useful to help bring balance and move energy through this space. So both hands on the inside, and just allowing that breath to flow. There's no forcing anything needed, just breathing gently and just allowing that space to happen over time. And then we're going to take that leg back, and we're going to do the same on the left. So this time bringing the left foot forward, but over to the left side of the mat. And both hands on the inside. And just finding that breath again. You might like to visualize the ocean or a beautiful lake, somewhere in nature where you have a strong connection to the water. Couple more breaths. Left foot back. And we're going to take a child's pose, but this time we're going to have the knees apart, toes towards each other. And we're gently going to sink that bottom back towards the heels. Down for a few rounds. Gently coming back up, and we're going to bring those feet through to the front. Again, this time we're going to take a nice wide stance. Again, remember we're working through the hips. If you like, if you've got a small cushion or a bolster, you might like to sit up on that bolster. It just helps to get a little bit more of a tilt through that pelvis. And so we want to keep the legs nice and active. So we push out through the heels, toes up towards the sky. We also want to try and keep an openness through the chest. So the shoulder blades towards each other at the back. You can start, if you like, with your hands down by your sides or on top of your bolster. And then on the in-breath, we're going to lengthen up through the spine to make a bit more space. And then on the out-breath, starting to fold forward. We want to avoid doing this because then it's missing the stretch through these hips. So keeping the shoulders back, we're just gently going to start to come forward from this space. Again, just keeping that breath nice and flowing. And just allowing that space, again, to be created with that breath. Once you're down, then you might bring those hands forward as well. But we still want to avoid hunching over those shoulders. So we want to keep that smiley chest. So we've got the work happening around this sacral area at the back. A couple more breaths here. We're then going to, without coming up, start to walk the hands over towards your right leg. Again, lengthening up on the in-breath and exhale, fold. Breath here. And while you're in these postures, you might again like to visualize you're at the beach or at may even just be a beautiful picture that you've seen before out in the nature. A couple more breaths. And then without coming up again, we're going to move those hands back around to the middle. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. Keeping that breath nice and deep and steady. And then walking the hands over to the other side. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, soften. Couple more breaths. You might even like to visualize yourself in the water. The nice, calm, beautiful water. What does it feel like floating? And then we're going to walk the hands back around into the middle. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, soften. You might notice now that you've been able to find a bit more length. A couple more breaths here. And gently walking the hands back towards the body. If you're on a bolster, you might like to bend those knees, scooch a little bit forward, remove that bolster, and then we're going to roll down onto the back. Again, you don't have to move onto your side, but just hugging those knees, those legs into the chest, allowing those hamstrings to release. And then we're going to do a happy baby. So we're going to take the soles of the feet to the sky, widening those knees again, and we're working on the hips. And you can gently rock from side to side, holding the backs of the legs, or if you're able to reach the hands up to the sides of the feet as well, and gently rock from side to side. Then from here, we're going to pop those feet together, dropping those knees out to the side, the goddess pose. Just releasing that lower spine. Maybe taking your arms up above your head as well. Maybe holding those elbows, just feeling whatever's right for you, adjusting those shoulders at the back. And then turning back inwards again and feeling that breath with your awareness in your sacral area. Again, making that connection with the element water. Wherever water has a connection for you, it may even be in your bathtub or a creek just down the road. Feeling that connection with the water. So you're welcome to stay here as long as you like. Or when you're ready to complete, just going to roll onto the side, bringing yourself back up to seated position. We're going to find the butterfly this time. Soles of the feet together to finish. We're going to take the water mudra, so thumbs connecting with the small finger. Back up nice and tall. And we're going to finish with the seed sound lam. breath in. And on the out breath, Vam, Vam, Vam. Namaste. Hope you enjoyed that little practice.